In continuation of the trading analysis course or lecture, in the previous episode, we discussed about the core pillars of technical analysis, where we talked about market structure, support and resistance, supply and demand zones, candlestick patterns, indicators, timeframes, and after that, we are now into building a beginner trading method. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the previous subtopics under trading analysis. Okay, so how do you build a beginner trading method or strategy? It isn't complicated, it isn't hard. In previous video, I talked about market structure and I talked about higher highs, higher lows, and so on. So first you have to identify the trend. Identifying the trend, in previous video, I taught you guys on how to, mark or um, identify market structure. For example, I said if you are creating higher highs, then definitely higher highs and higher lows, definitely we are on a bullish trend. So if you can see, as you can see here, for example, let me mark this, for example, this is a higher high. We are creating higher highs, okay? So this kind of a bullish market. And over here, we're going to mark the key levels. Once we identify the trend, for example, this is also another higher high, this one here. Not Yeah, these are higher high, higher high. Okay, so we mark the key levels. So for example, for ICT traders, you're going to understand that we took liquidity of the previous day here of Monday. We came back and um, broke the structure over here. These are break of structure, or some people can call it change of character and so on. So you were waiting for an entry using a gap here, which happened here. But as you can see, if you entered here and put your stop loss right here, you're gonna lose this because, as I told you guys earlier, that we are coming here. What I don't really would not like to see is us taking this low. I wouldn't really like to see that. But you see, this is just probability. So meaning that for those who missed trade or this entry, they're gonna be entering here again. Then they put their stop loss right here. Then they target maybe these highs or maybe all-time highs. Okay. So market key levels. Key levels are things like support and resistance. Or if you don't if you trade ICT, your key levels are gonna be like a breakout structure. Where did you break that structure? Right here. So we mark the fair value gaps or the inefficiencies. For a beginner, don't worry about the terms I'm using. Though they will confuse you as well now, but as time goes on, once you get to understand what a gap is. And in this channel, I have all those videos about in explaining the gaps, explaining markets. I have all of them. So you it is just you, it is your responsibility to go and check them out. Then you have to wait for a price to reach your level. So for example, if you have already notified that or noticed that we had a break of structure right here, so you have to wait for price to reach your level. So if your level is this gap right here, you have to wait for it to come to that gap before you enter. If your level, for example, you're using this entry method of, maybe let's assume the OTE, optimal entry patterns, for example, then you see it's just actually the same thing. Price tapped right in there. So for some people, you might be waiting for your entry to be here, which might happen today because you have news. So I'm expecting there might be, we have ready for the news today. I think, is it FOMC or something? So I'm expecting some volatility, but I won't like, or I won't want to see this one violated. Okay. So that is about, first you identify the trend. Are you creating higher highs or higher, or lower lows? Are you bullish or bearish? You can even identify trend by even a trend line if you don't want to use, those market structure type of, theory. You can use just a trend line. You see, we had a breakout like there, like that. So we wait for a retest, then we buy as we target the opposing liquidity. Okay. So that being said, wait for price to reach your level. It must come down here. Don't enter, thinking that this market is now going without me. That is how you lose money, trying to chase it. Wait until it comes to your zone. Then now look for confirmation. Confirmation can be things like, how does price react when it is on that level? For example, did it displace violating this gap? No, we did not. So the first candle respected it, the second one respected it. So now, and now you see we had even a gap after that. So you went on this gap here. Then you target the opposing liquidity. This you had more than enough confirmation. Now, even if you put a stop loss right here, because you see it was not violated as much as it was very close to it, but it was never violated because price was respecting this inefficiency right here. And that is how you look for confirmations. Then when you enter, make sure you have a stop loss. Don't enter trades based on hopes. Hopes is people. There's nothing like if you try to trade based on hopes, thinking that your emotions are gonna move this market, thinking that when you pray is gonna move this market. Guys, I understand that prayer is very powerful, and I support prayer, but it's sometimes just good to use our common sense. Yes, we have faith, yes, but why would you do something like that? Because wisdom says otherwise. Faith is by doing the right thing. That's how you win. But you can't have faith by doing the wrong thing and expect to win. That's not how it works. You know, the irony of that is that you trying to make a deal with the devil, selling your soul or maybe doing something, then having faith that God is gonna forgive you. You are doing something wrong intentionally, and you see that I have so much faith. I hope it's gonna work. God is gonna forgive me. It doesn't work like that. That is blasphemy. It's the same thing here with trading. You can't be opening random positions, not putting stop loss with the hope and with the faith that it wins. You lose money. I tell you, you lose money. Always enter with a stop loss. Your stop loss is always the level that you do not want price to touch. And if it touches, that changes everything. That changes everything, meaning that that was just a losing trade, or you have to reposition yourself again for another setup another day. So, for example, your stop loss if it should be down here, meaning that this swing low is not supposed to be touched. The reason being, we already took liquidity over here. You know, you're also supposed to be having reasons why, and this is the problem I find with the retail concept. Retail concept, they don't give you reason. They just tell you look for, but they don't tell you why you should do that. The reason why your stop loss is supposed to be here because the liquidity has already been taken off the previous day, and it was taken by the day of manipulation, Tuesday manipulation, already manipulated Monday lows. So we're not supposed to be manipulating Tuesday lows again, not unless it is some red folder news or just something happening in the market. And you see, market is not even perfect. So why do you expect perfection in a market that's not even perfect? So that being said, this will be the end of this lecture. This will be, I think, the third. This will be the third episode or third chapter about building simple beginner trading method. And just to give you guys a bonus, let me give another strategy where you can uh, strategy that you can use. For example, there's some people who trade double tops. Let me see if I can spot a double top here. Some people say they don't work. They work, my friend. It's not that people don't know how to use them. For example, right here, let me show you. This was Friday. We had a serious displacement downward, showing intention of going lower. Then you see this, we can say this was the first top, this one here. Then second top right there. Then you sell targeting these lows. And as you can see, anybody, for example, if you had marked these tops, for example, this is the first one and this is the second one, okay? See how their bodies were kind of, just chilling below that level, eh? So, and you come and mark point to it like a break of structure happen, for example, right here. Okay, so the break of structure happens right here. Then, so you have a double top, break of structure, you enter on retest, then you target this loss here. As much as I don't use these strategies, this is not my strategy, but I know how it works. Okay, so it works still. The only issue is that with it is that it is for beginners. To be honest, it is for beginners. So if you're a beginner, just keep on going, keep on going. Don't relax on one strategy and so on. Understand the market overall. So that is how you can build simple beginner trading methods. And apart from that, just back test, back test, back test, back test. Learn. The more you become obsessive with these markets, and when you pray and ask God to open your eyes, guys, me, I believe in Christ, Yeshua Mashiach, as the Holy Son of God, and that's just my, because I know what He did to me. I know what He has done to me. A lot of wisdom that I have about these markets have been solely given by Him. I haven't even talked about them, especially my mathematical side of this market. Something very powerful, I tell you guys, very powerful. And nobody taught me that. Nobody. ICT only opened my eyes to liquidity and inefficiencies. After learning inefficiencies, then I started, you know, praying and fasting about how to, because I was still losing money even with ICT, by the way. Doesn't mean that ICT doesn't work. There was a time I was only trading double tops and double bottom. In my first year of trading, I was making money, guys. I was making money, just double tops. I was spotting them. Like once I see a double top, once I observe a trend, like we are bearish, I look for, when you are bearish, I'm looking for double tops. When you are bullish, I'm looking for double bottoms. That was my strategy, simple strategy. And you can even use it right now. It still works. It still works. Okay. So, for example, if we are bullish right now, I'm only looking for another double bottom to be formed here. But now that will make my stop loss to be very large. I have to put it over here. Then I'm going to be targeting all the size up there. Maybe 1 to 2, 1 to 3. So it all work. It all works, guys. And I remember when praying and fasting about over a year ago, about how I can be able to uncover the secrets of the market, I started seeing a sequence of some numbers. When you hear ICT talk about price and time, there's a very big secret hidden right in there. It's a very big secret. I often feel, okay, like I feel it's so powerful that I cannot just come, and start opening to strangers, just trying to give them everything, because I don't know exactly who is gonna watch this video. I don't know how powerful that strategy I'm giving out, the damage is gonna cost, because see, there are some people, when you give them something, if they do not understand the power, they'll start violating. Tomorrow you find everybody creating a course with my own concept. When you leave that behind, they don't even give credit. That's stealing. Stealing is against the principalities of the kingdom of heaven, or against God. So there's so many reasons why I still don't want to talk about my side of mathematical side. But whatever information I'm relaying out here, guys, is very, very important and is helpful if you just follow whatever I'm talking about here. Little by little, I'll be talking about my mathematical side of trading, just little by little. I'm not going to go all in at once. So it's upon the person who is serious, the person who is really looking for it, the person who's really want to uncover the secret of these markets and their patience and how they put in hard work to learn. They'll be able to to understand it. Because even for me, it was not easy. I just didn't wake up one morning and started yeah, I can see the 369, yeah, I can see the no, I can see the numbers, I can see the time, no, it never happened like that. I went through serious fasting and period. Guys, there were times where I could not sleep the whole night. I was just watching charts. And that's how you have to be that obsessed and with success or with these markets for you to be able to see things. So learn, back test, back test, back test. You'll just see a pattern repeating itself somewhere, a pattern repeating itself somewhere. And most of it, you realize, even with the ICT logo, you see the cycles? You see the cycles? Yes, they are there in every single time frame. When you go to 1 minute, you'll see them. 3 minutes, you'll see them. 5 minutes, you'll see it. 10, 1 hour, even the daily, you see them. It is the market moves in cycles. And those cycles, most of it is accumulation, manipulation, distribution, but there's more to that. That's not only it. That's the sequence, but there's more to that. Either way, that will make it this for this video. We've talked about how to build a simple beginner trading method and just identify the trend, mark key levels, await for price to reach your level, look for confirmation, enter the stop loss, set your take profit, walk away. As simple as such. So that being said, what else is it remaining? We're remaining with risk management and psychological factors. Imagine all these topics I've already covered in this channel. So if in case I don't make about risk management, then you guys need to just go and check that video of risk management. It is right in this channel, but I'll still see what I can do. When leave that behind, I'll make a special video about psychological focus that nobody else has ever talked about out there in psychological focus. And this goes directly to the problem. This one, directly to the problem, because this is where most traders lose money. It's not that they don't have a strategy, because they have a psychological problem. And this psychological problem, you hear people talking about your psychology, stop over trading, stop revenge trading. You can't change what is already encoded in your brain. It's on the subconscious mind. So I'll go deep into that. That's why I don't want to talk about it. There's a program that is running on your mind that is automatically causing this problem, this psychological focus. And it's something that not only for focus, like even me personally, I go through this sometimes, because Why do I go through this? Because I'm a human being too. And as well, I also have those memories and I also have those bad habits that were encoded in my brain some years back, or maybe when I was a kid, and they keep on affecting me. So how I change this, or how we can change this, is being aware. Awareness is the solution. And being aware, uh, then we start, reprogramming or rewiring. The Bible says that, transform, by transformation of the mind. This is what it. This is what it is. Transforming your mind, you start seeing yourself as a profitable trader. Where you used to see yourself as a loser, you start seeing yourself as a winner. And that's how you reprogram your subconscious mind. And when you start putting those good tapes or good ideas or good information in there, that is how it is going to be running automatically. So that being said, I think I'm done for this one. I'll see you in the next chapter of the psychological focus and maybe risk management. So cheers, bye.